missing the rest of the world like that, not being able to travel anywhere. What's that been like for you?
It's been pretty difficult. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's been emotionally pretty hard because, I really want to be with my family and friends, and even over here, I can't really see that many people, and it's gotten pretty bad out here actually in LA.
Yeah.
Probably heading for another lockdown. And so, I've just been keeping to a very small circle of people and doing a lot of press to my record, and it's kind of crazy releasing an album during a pandemic, but hopefully this album will help people entertain them, through it, and can't wait till the world gets, better again and I can start touring next year. That'd be awesome.
Exactly. I was going to ask that. How difficult has it been bringing out an album during a pandemic? Like, had you finished recording before everything hit, or were you still at that stage where some work needed to be done on the album?
No, the album was actually done a year ago.
Oh, wow.
I did this whole album about a year ago in 28 days with Marty Frederickson in Nashville, and he's Aerosmith producer and the Struts and, Faith Hill, Buck Cherry. He does so much great stuff. And Marty's been a friend of mine since I was 20 years old. I went to Nashville and we had a discussion. He's like, let's make a record. And I was like, that sounds awesome. So we just went straight in and, didn't overthink it or anything and had a lot of fun with it. And it's funny because one of the first songs, it's not funny, but it's weird. One of the first songs I wrote was called Contagious a year ago.
Wow.
And that was going to be the single. And then I thought, you know what, no, can't do that. That's just poor form. So, we put out Sinner's Hymn and Impulsive, and the next single is called Sorry. But it's been pretty crazy because, as you know, and as most people know, the music industry is, especially with artists, we're very reliant upon touring.
Yeah.
That's how, you sort of, people make money that way because records are basically free for everybody,
yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. And also you get yourself out there and you get to, that's why you can make a record anyways, to tour it. So being stuck kind of, I'm working in different studios and stuff like that and jamming, and I did a live stream, but playing to 5 cameramen is not the same feeling you get from performing in front of 10,000 people to, 1,000. It's such a different situation right now.
I was going to ask that. How do you keep that vibe going during a live stream? Because I've spoken to some artists during the pandemic who have actually said, I tried a live stream and I would never do it again because I didn't have that audience to feed off. How do you keep that vibe there for yourself with, as you said, there's just 5 cameramen there?
You know what? Just having a lot of fun beforehand with the band and afterwards.
Yep.
Some tequila shots afterwards. Honestly, it's a weird situation because you go, all right, well, is this show started? There's no one there, and so you kind of give yourself permission to mess up, which is a weird thing. I got to tell you, I'm not sure about it. I can't wait for the world to get, as I said, a better place again, and so we can start touring next year.
Yeah.
Trying to put that together right now. Ideas, places that are kind of opening up, but then we don't know. It's kind of the whole world's in this situation, but not alone in all this. We're all in it together, and music brings people together. So hopefully, by just putting out my record, it can help people through this time with some entertainment value.
Definitely. There's some deeply personal lyrics on this album. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what things were inspiring you when you sat down to work on this album, because it is a deeply personal album.
Absolutely. I went through a lot of different things in my life, since I started in this industry, of course, but in the past few years and whatnot, and different relationships I was in, different situations, team I've changed around me, management, everything I've changed around me, so many different changes, and friendship circles, just different, just living in LA and the music industry and what comes with that. So I definitely did put a lot of personal stuff in this record. And also, one of the songs everyone asks about is Crawling Out of the Dark. They're like, oh my gosh, that relationship was terrible. And I'm going, yeah, well, that song was actually a collaboration with Candy Carpenter, who is an incredible country singer. And she went through a horrendous relationship that was really, awful and toxic. And then, I went through a few relationships which weren't so good, and so did my friend. So we actually compiled all the stories together and wrote this really kind of heavy, dark country song ultimately, and then we just changed it to this sort of, you know, like rock sort of ballad sort of thing, because I walked in there with my PRS and sang it 4 times and kept one take. That song's one take, you know.
Wow.
And just put it all in there. But, you know, just going through a lot of different changes in my life, and you find out how strong you are in the end of it. You know what I mean? And when and I've been on different spiritual journeys too, and just reading a lot, and different healers I've been with, and just a lot of self-work, I guess, and centering, because the entertainment industry can drive you freaking nuts, and I do not recommend it for anybody who hasn't got a strong sense of themselves or what they want, and have a passion for, you know, music or anything. If you're getting into it just to be famous, or getting into it just for the glory, pick another job.
Yeah.
You know, be a party planner.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you use, this sounds weird because you're a musician, but do you use music as your escape? Do you find writing music is what lets all of that emotion out for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's quite a few songs that, even on the record, I mean, from Moonwalker, which is actually about not facing reality. And a lot of people say, oh, that's about Michael Jackson. No, it's not. It's actually about not coming down to earth and running away from your problems. And it's actually written about myself, about other friends, whether it be just not facing your problems, running away from distracting yourself, using drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, right? Just not facing the things that are in front of you. And so that song was, you know, and it almost sounds kind of, when you hear it, like, it's got this like church vibe to it,
yeah.
You know? And then songs like Company, you know, I was in a place where I was like emotionally unavailable, right? So I was dating quite a few people, and going through this sort of phase of my life, right? I was numb, right, to love and to a lot of different things. So, that song's written about that, and there's just so many different things. And Sorry is basically about, you know, being in a relationship where you're just not going to own up to when you're wrong, right?
Yeah.
And all you want, you just say freaking sorry, you know, and that solves a lot of things.
Yeah.
Take ownership. And I think that, you know, I just learning, living, you know, that's, and every record I make is going to be different, and this one's definitely very different from the one I made previous, which was Heaven is Hell, or RSO record, which was a collaboration with my, you know, partner, Richie Sambora, and then, you know, before that it was Believe, and, every record was such a journey, and it's just something that you need to get out. It's like, you know, diary entries, or just, it's therapy ultimately.
You mentioned before about this album being a little bit different. One of the first tracks I heard off this album was Impulsive, and the first thing that hit me was that real Nashville stamp on that song with that strong country sound coming through. Tell us a little bit about what it was like recording in Nashville, and did you really feel that country stamp there while you were recording?
That's really funny you would say that. I've never heard that before with Impulsive. I was kind of going for a more in excess sort of Stonesy vibe actually with that song.
Yeah.
But I guess I used a telly.
Yeah.
I'm sure. So maybe that's it. But that song definitely got kind of a rock sort of edge, sort of Stonesy, in excess, you know, rock vibe to it. But I love country music. I have a love of a good country song, and I've actually written quite a few songs for different country artists, and a few have been cut by different, actually the last one was cut by Delta Ray, actually, called Walk With Me.
Wow.
Big Machine, and they cut it. And, so, I mean, you know, it's just, every song on the record has a different sort of vibe to it, but I think it's pretty eclectic but cohesive at the same time, you know. I mean, I hope that everything else, you know, I've said this many times, but this record, I feel, is something that I hope that people want to put on in their car and not turn off, because it's that different. Each song takes you on a different sort of, you know, kind of different feels with every song, you know, different vibes. So, I didn't want to bore people. I didn't want to bore myself, ultimately.
Yeah. What is Nashville like as a city? It's on my bucket list to visit, but what is it like as a city to be there and to be recording an album in it?
Look, I love Nashville. I don't know if I could live there. I've been asked to live there quite a few times. My ex-management team and my manager before was in Nashville. And, you know, the thing is, I love it. It's a music city. I go there and I get inspired. I think it's better that I go there and I get inspired than opposed to living there.
Yep.
Because I think once you live somewhere, you get this comfort zone of, I don't know, it becomes a bit stagnant and kind of weird. And so I like the idea of traveling somewhere and being there predominantly for a reason and knowing I'm here to make a record. I'm here to be inspired. These grounds I don't live on. It's new to me, and it's kind of this situation which works.
Yeah.
In my mind.
You mentioned.
But it's a nice city. I mean, I got to tell you, it's Music City. So you go to a bar, someone's singing. You arrive at the airport, someone's singing.
Wow.
There's guitars everywhere. There's guitars in the airport. There's, it's like you're just surrounded by music. It's the person that's your Uber driver's a musician.
Wow.
Your waiters.
You mentioned about working with Marty before and that he's been a close friend of yours for many years. Tell us a little bit about what it was like working with him on this album, and does it actually make it easier when your producer is someone that is a close friend?
Oh, it's so much easier because the thing is, Marty and I talk about everything. That's the thing. It's not like, you're walking in and it's like a strange, uptight situation where you're getting to know somebody. The cool thing about working with someone who's your friend, who kind of like just knows most things, you know what I mean? You just have these open conversations without holding back. You don't get judged. That's the coolest thing, and we just have a good vibe. I mean, he's so talented. His son is so talented, Evan. He played drums on the record. His son, he's like 21 years old. Incredible drummer.
Wow.
And we just basically did it all together and wrote all the songs together, aside from a few. One song was actually co-written with Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue.
Yep.
And that's called Streams of Consciousness. And then the other one was Moonwalker. We had Lindsay Garrett come in, and she's actually Chuck Garrett's wife from Beasto Blanco, who's Alice Cooper's bass player.
Yep.
He has a killer band with Calico. And so she came in with some of the lyrics of Moonwalker, and then Candy Carpenter is an incredible country singer and songwriter. She co-wrote Crawling Out of the Dark with me. So
awesome. Yeah. Well, I know we are running out of time very, very quickly, so before I go, I'll ask one quick question. Tell us a little bit about this Gibson guitar that you've got coming out, because I know a lot of our listeners are going to be very excited about being able to get hold of one of those.
Oh, I'm beyond thrilled about this guitar. I've got the first one off, from the factory, and I'm just so blown away by this guitar. I mean, having the opportunity to create something so special with the Gibson crew and being part of the Gibson family now and going to Montana, picking out the woods, picking out the neck. It's actually a 345 neck on a J200 body. So it's the first time in history that Gibson have done a hybrid acoustic.
Wow.
So this guitar is actually, is basically the ultimate rock and roll acoustic. I mean, you play it like a lead guitar, right, with the neck and everything. The pickup's modified so it cuts through and it has high mids and whatever you want, compression, everything. And it still has a full-bodied sound. So even with the pickup, I spent a lot of time with L.R. Baggs, who's incredible. He's an incredible creator, and he really understood where I was going with it because he was listening to my playing. They kind of studied how I play. I went to the factory and just like messed around on different guitars, and they were like, okay, this is going to fit your playing and everything like that. And we picked the color. I put crystals like citrine and amethyst in the pick guard. The good energy. I'm very much into that. Kind of superstitious,
yeah.
As I am. But and I put lotus flowers down the neck, and to see my O symbol put on the headstock next to Gibson was just like a moment for me, a real moment. And I'm honestly so grateful and honoured, and I cannot wait for people to be able to purchase this guitar early next year. And it's coming out in different, various models. But the first one we're going to put out is the one that I've been posting about first, and then we're going to go from there. But super stoked. It's one of the best acoustics I've ever played.
Awesome.
I'm not just saying that.
No, I'm seriously thinking about grabbing one for my wife for her birthday, because her birthday's early in the year, so seriously thinking about grabbing one for her.
You know what? It's really special, and I got to tell you, it's a piece of art. I mean, it looks beautiful, but the playability of it is just wonderful. Definitely.
Well, Orianthi, I know we are right out of time. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. We cannot wait to get our hands on one of these guitars. For now, though, we're enjoying this album so much, and hopefully we get to see you in Australia sometime when everything opens back up as well.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to come home. So thank you so much for your support, and hope to see you out in Melbourne.
Definitely, not a problem. You have a great day, and we'll see you very, very soon.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.